What's going on, friends? James Nguyen here with the Alpha Red Comic Channel. We're back, baby. 8 o'clock, Sunday night. You're here to watch me draw. I'm going to be doing a little coloring today. So I hope you are ready for this guy right here. Babamski. But before we get started, I know you're curious. You're curious. Like, what? Am I still drawing? Am I doing anything of note here? And so I'm going to just throw down this is what is on the current drawing board right now. This is a commission that I'm doing for a local comic convention that is starting up first year. And I met him in Mannheim, and he asked me to do his logo. So, and so I said yes. And there it is. So before we jump into that, if we get done, I always say this, right? I say, you know, it's not going to take me that long. So just in case, I mean, we have an Optimus Prime behind me that we can get into. But I like doing a little bit of the reviews of comics that I am currently reading. And I got a table underneath. I got a thing under my table here. I'm gonna pull it up. Kabamski. Like, I don't know if you guys are into the new Amazing Spider-Man with Joe Kelly and Ed McGuinness, but I actually liked issue number 61. I just picked this up yesterday? Yeah, Saturday. Just picked this up. Haven't read it yet, but I did enjoy the first one. So, so I like to review stuff, and I can give you my thoughts on The Horseman by Rippaverse. I don't know if any of you guys are into the Rippaverse, but we can talk about that. I did that. They got me. They got me for another Batman variant for the noir edition of Batman, Absolute Batman #1. But we can talk about Batman #2. See what I thought about that. If once we get done with Starscream here, or we can get into some things that I picked up at the Black Friday sale at my comic book store. They had a bunch of stuff, a bunch of cool stuff in the dollar bin. And so I did want to check this out when it initially came out in October, end of September, beginning of October. And I passed on it just because the price tag was $5. I'm not really a DC guy, but for $1, couldn't pass it up. One of my favorite reviewers, Thinking Critical, was singing praises on Green Lantern, and I found this in the dollar bin, so I'm gonna check that out. And a bunch of really cool old stuff that I got for $1. Like, check out this. I don't know if you guys remember Sectars, but I remember the toy where you stick your hand into the toy thing for the creatures that they ride around on. Your hand would be in that thing. And so I thought it was fun. For $1, I'll draw them. So I'm addicted to sketch covers, guys. I don't know if you noticed. Ba-bing. But here it is. Astonishing X-Men. I picked this up for the Joe Matter era art. I got rid of these when I moved from Pennsylvania to New York, and I was happy to find these in the dollar bin. Happy to get some old Joe Madureira art back into my collection. Same thing with this Mark Texiera artwork. I am looking forward to just thumbing through those things, and I have already since yesterday. So good stuff. But again, dollar bin. I got the first 3 issues of this, whatever this is. The Moon is Following Us. And the only reason why I picked this up was because the writer is the same writer as the Transformers reboot from Skybound that I am enjoying a lot. So I was able to get the first 3 issues of that for $1. So very happy about that. Picked up some old Ninjak. I know when they rebooted him, they called him Ninja K. But I liked it as Ninjak. He's like a James Bond ninja guy. But I bought it for the Joe Quesada art. Joe Quesada was one of my favorite artists back in the day, and he influenced my artwork a lot. So I was happy to pick that up. And I also picked up these couple. This one was in the dollar bin. Well, it wasn't in the dollar bin, but anything $5 or anything $5 became $1. Anything that was above $5 became $5 or something like that. So this was price tag of $10. So I picked up 2 of those for this was $1, and I think I picked up another X-Force for $5. Here it is down here. So got some old X-Force, some Rob Liefeld stuff. So I'm on the Rob Liefeld bandwagon right now. I found his podcast, Robservations. I don't know if you guys are into that, but I started listening, and I have become a bigger fan of Rob Liefeld nowadays than I was back then. And I was a fan back then, but I just like him a whole lot more nowadays. But I also want to bring your attention to my comic that this is the last call for Alpha Red number 6. You can pick up Alpha Red number 6. You can pre-order, I don't know. I'm sending it off to the printers tomorrow. So you can go to alpharedcomic.com. If you go to these 2 things up here, alpharedcomic.com and shop Alpha Red comic, Alpha Red, yeah, shop alphared.com. That'll take you to the Fund My Comic site, and you'll see this cover. But you can also let me know if you order that. You say, hey, I want the New Mutants number 98 homage cover instead. I will honor that. That was previously only available on Kickstarter. And then if you want this Dark Knight Returns homage, you can go over to JamesQ.net and pick that up. And like I said, I'm going to send them off to the printers tomorrow. I love you, tomorrow. So what else is going on? Next Saturday, guys, I will be part of an art auction over at Comic Book Radio. And for the very first time, I'm going to be auctioning off interior pages of Alpha Red. So this is Alpha Red number 1, page 1. Still in my collection. This is the original art. And I will be putting it up for auction next week right here on YouTube. Comic Book Radio. The Comic Book Radio YouTube channel. That's Pete Cimetti and Alterna Comics. They are friends of the Alpha Red comic channel. So I am grateful that they include me in their offerings, their auctions. So I am grateful, and I will be auctioning off Alpha Red pages for the very first time. So what am I fumbling with here? Some references for the color. So I hated that I messed up a couple of weeks ago on the shaft coloring, and so I want to make sure that I'm doing the right thing by getting some references for color. So we're gonna dive right in, guys, with the colors. I know that the markers that I use right here say that they're the old Prismacolor markers, but I actually just use these as like the vessel for the Copic. I use the Copic filler, and I just go ahead and add the Copic right into the body of this thing. So it uses, I assume it used the same alcohol-based dyes or inks or whatever. So, and I'm going in super dark right away with his helmet thing here, just because I believe that I gotta make sure that it gets as dark as it needs to in order for him to look right. So I hope you guys had a great Thanksgiving. I should have started off with that, but you are all here, so I imagine that you all made it through. You made it through Thanksgiving. No huge family fights and no big accidents. Maybe you did. and you're sitting there watching me anyway, and I appreciate it. But I hope you had a great Thanksgiving. I, for one, had a very good Thanksgiving. We traveled to my wife's family. And do I have a darker one? I think I'm missing some colors, because I am missing some colors. I'm looking for my 90. Nope, that's not it. Maybe I shouldn't have gone so dark so quick, because I can't find my 90. Guys, don't do what I just did. Don't do what I just did. I did not make sure that I had a darker color first and went in with the dark color first. Yikes. Let's check my other handy dandy source. That's black. Well guys, faux pas. Don't do what James just did. Don't go so dark so fast. So we're gonna go in, and anything that is red, I'm just gonna start off as orange. And you say, well, why would you do that if you know it's gonna be red? Because my experience tells me that orange shows up very much like red to the eye initially, and when I throw the red in there, it looks kind of brown. So you gotta keep those kinds of things in mind. Now I'm gonna go in with the lighter gray that I should have started off with, but who knows? Maybe I did the right thing. Maybe I did the right thing. It's too late now. The darker color is down. Let me check out my handy dandy color sheet, and we're gonna do some more orange. Actually, I'm gonna take the lightest, like yellow orange I can, because I'm doing a light source that's coming from kind of over here, and so anything that hits over here is going to be a little bit brighter when it comes to red. So even before I lay down the orange, I'm going to lay down this yellow so that it looks like it's a highlight when, hopefully when we get to the orange comes in, and I'll just back off the yellow orange here a little bit, and then it will look like we hit him with a highlight. See if the sun light source that's coming from over there is going to hit. He's got red underwear thing here. Where else is red? I think that's kind of it for the red. He's very simple, so I'm pretty confident we're going to get through the colors on Starscream pretty early. So, all right, now I'm going to go back in with a lighter orange, because I don't know, I just use anything that I have handy. So there's a lighter orange. I know it kind of looks yellow on the screen here, but it's a light orange, and then a darker orange, and then I have some red nearby too. So we'll go in here and we'll go right in with orange. Orange, glad we started with a lighter color. I know I am. It's easier to go darker than to go lighter. So you start off light because you can go right over top of a light color with a darker color. I don't know if that makes sense to you. I know that in painting it's the opposite, I believe. A lot of painters start off dark and then they can lay the lighter colors right on top. But as far as markers go, you want to lay down your lighter colors. You want to use the brightness of the paper to help you out too. So if you're looking right now, it looks like it's just kind of orange, and it looks like this light orange is kind of running out here. So as I'm doing it, I am coloring in the direction of the lines so that any kind of streaks that you get from this will be moving in the same direction as the lines. So hopefully visually it is less noticeable. I find that it's less noticeable. So I hope you guys had a great Thanksgiving. I ate myself silly, as you do on a Thanksgiving. Filled up on carbs, which was a no-no. Took me a couple of days to kind of feel normal again. See what I mean here as I'm coloring? I don't know if you guys can see that the marker is running out, so it's leaving some streaks. But because I am coloring within like the direction of the lines, I'm hoping that it is much less noticeable. And because this is the lightest color, I will be able to go back and put in some darker lines, darker colors, and kind of bring that out. Like I'm gonna be able to erase the streaks, kind of. I don't know how else to say it. It'll just go over top of the streaks and poof, streaks will be unnoticeable. So I don't typically do much coloring of my artwork. A lot of my artwork just stays black and white, and I don't feel like it's my strength to color. So I just leave that to some of the experts. I hire people to color my comic book. I have a comic book called Alpha Red. That's why this is the Alpha Red comic channel, because that's my main thing that I like to focus on, is my independent comic book called Alpha Red. And I hire people to help me with the colors. I hire out different portions of the comic creation because no matter how much time I spend on the colors, they don't come out as nice as hiring somebody who knows what they're doing in Photoshop, and they can make those pages really sing. And I have resigned myself. Is that it? I resigned myself to asking for help, paying someone to do what my skill set does not allow me to do. All right, guys, you see that? How it's light and it works. It just works. Just trust me. Trust me, it works. Now I want to go in here. Some of these parts, I'm gonna do what I should have did with the helmet thing and go light first, even though that is going to be like probably almost pitch black. Like in the actual source, it's like black. All these things are black. Even this helmet is black, so I don't feel too bad. You just lose a lot of the detail that I spent putting into the inked page. If you guys are interested in buying this is available on Etsy. The link is in the description of the video. So sometimes people buy the picture as I'm drawing it or coloring it. So that was a 50% gray, 50% cool gray. And then I'll go back in with a 70% cool gray. And if you're just joining me, I use these as just kind of a tool. They're not actually Prismacolor markers. I actually refill them with, what's the other one? Copic. With Copic refiller. And the Copic refiller I have them handy over here if you're interested in seeing what those look like. Oh, here they are. Oh, fantastic. The Copic refillers look like this, and they tell you how many, I guess, ounces or whatever. But you pop the top off of one of these things, and then there's they sell needle things that you can pull these things right out, and then it's just kind of hollow inside, and it's a felt tip thing that keeps the juices from flowing out. Then you just take this, and this has a needle thing. I don't want to drop it on here. It's like a sharper whatever, and I just stick it right into the cavity there, and then a couple of squeezes, 2 or 3 squeezes, will rejuice it. Some people say you just keep on juicing it until it drips out the other side. I don't like that because it gets messy. I don't know if you can see some of the mess sometimes. I've had to clean, but when you're refilling it, a lot of people will leave one side open, the smaller side open, and then they'll take this bigger side, and then they'll pull this out, put the fluid into the tube until it starts leaking. Then they'll put the felt tip back on, and then they'll wait for this end to stop dripping, and then that's how they know it's completely full. And I've done that a couple times, but I feel like you're wasting it, so I don't typically do it that way. And I found my other markers. Yay! So here's a 90%. You can go to Michael's, and Michael's has this generic brand, Artist Loft. It is not as good as the Copic or the Prisma. I don't even know if Prisma's around anymore. But so I'm going to take this 90% cool gray from this Artist Loft and kind of go in and add like the extra dark. So that should make the 70% gray that I laid down initially kind of pop when you lay down the darker stuff. And I think it does. I don't know. Do you agree? I don't know if you think that. Can you even notice that I threw down a darker color? But I know this is practically black, so I'm just going to go in with the 90. So it's not just filling it in. Excuse me, I'm going to grab a drink here. It's not like coloring, because when I'm doing it, I'm thinking a little bit about where the shadows are coming from, reflective light and things like that. Things that allow the what's going on, Rod? And Brian, what's up, my man? How we doing over at the library? I'm gonna try to make it out to that party, Brian. But yeah, so while I'm coloring here, I'm not just willy-nilly filling in different colors, but I'm also thinking through like reflective lights and shadows and how those things kind of work. It might seem like a lot of people don't know what they're doing, but it really shows when they don't, and they just color things and make them flat, when there are ways to make it look a little bit more three-dimensional. Doing well. Hope you can make it. Yeah. Sounds neat. So yeah, as I'm doing this stuff right here, I have an opportunity to make this pop. So I'm gonna go underneath here, but I'm gonna leave a little bit of the orange over top of that, and that should make it seem like there's a highlight right there, and it pops out a little bit. Now, it doesn't always work because the tips are kind of fat. And so it takes a little bit of skill to just leave just enough line there to make it look like it kind of jumps out. Gives it that three-dimensional pop, just because we know that you have a straight edge like that, the light hits it and it gives it that little, I don't know if you guys can see, let's see if you can see it, but it's very subtle, and you keep, there's just a thin line of the lighter orange that you should be able to see there. I'll scan it and post it to the community page on this YouTube channel, and you'll be able to see what I'm talking about with leaving that little extra line of the lighter orange. That should help signify to an observer that it's three-dimensional. It has a little bit more depth to it. But I mean, you can probably go in here and do a bunch of flat colors and it would look fine. But for the people who notice, they'll be able to see that I'm trying to leave a little bit of that, those visual cues to kind of make it a little bit more realistic. As realistic as transforming robots can look. All right. And do we have any more red pieces? All right. So his wings, I messed up on his wings, guys. Like I initially did not look at the references. I just thought I knew what he looked like, and I started drawing him, and this is how hard it is to reference. Boy, I'll just open up the comic, and that's how easy it was to get a reference, and I just either didn't think about it or just thought I knew what he looked like, and so I messed up a little bit. And if you can't see, I did some white out right there. But I have since gone back and done the little white out touch-ups. Hopefully most people won't notice. I think that's all for the red. And I don't know, like it looks orange. It does look orange on camera there. But in real life, I happen to think it looks very red. And I don't want to go too much more red, because it'll turn out brown in real life if I'm not careful. If I am not careful. So, let me see. Yep, and I want the reflection over here from his head. And I told myself that from before when I was doing some of the hatch lines. So we'll do this because it's facing us. JamesQ. And because that's facing us, we'll take out that highlight and turn it flat dark toward us here. I'm holding my breath just like I'm thinking. What's going on, Matt? I noticed. I fixed fix it. Very funny, very funny. So judgmental, these other artists. So judgmental. So I'm going to just throw in just a little bit of red just to see how it acts. See how it acts. I think that's alright. That's alright. I think I'll throw this red down here just because that's definitely in the shadow. Gonna throw that in there. And I mean, when I draw it, I think about the light source and things like that. But when you're coloring it, you can do so much more So it's like another way of thinking. I know, Matt, you do a lot of colors for your commissions. I don't feel super comfortable with it, so I don't offer it unless they pay me lots of money, and then I do it. Just chilling, doing the same thing. Figures I'd pop in. No, I appreciate you being here, bro. Appreciate it for sure. So I should not be taking too long on this because there's not much more to him other than there's some blue, but I want to make sure that I get like the white parts grayed in where they should be to kind of give it the shadow. Give it a little bit of shadow, a little bit of depth here. Ba-boomski, ba-boomski. And I want to keep that open. Yeah, that looks all right. That looks all right. That looks all right. And I think the cockpit is kind of an orange yellow, so I'll use the same highlighted color there. And so I put some reflection into this, so I want to be mindful of that and not waste that white from the page as I put in some color. I try to kind of go crazy in here. I don't know if you guys can see it in the detail, but I try to put in the cockpit details. Like these hoops are, I think they pulled them down over their head. I don't know if they still do that. I think they pull from below. I think they pull up now, as I have done some referencing for airplanes and such. So I believe it's between their legs they pull up and the top pops off and all that good stuff. But way back when, I believe they had something over their heads, they pulled it down and it did the same thing. Colors are its own beast. To be fair, yours probably 90% better at inking than I am, so it's a fair trade. Yep, we got our strengths and weaknesses. So I cannot figure it out. I can't figure out all the coloring, and it's just not how my brain thinks. But I am actually starting to hire out for the inks, and I think you know, because Keyshawn, I forget his name, as I do when the camera comes on. But not that I've hired him, but I have hired another inker to help me speed up the process for getting Alpha Red out the door. So I'm using a 30% cool gray here for this, just to kind of make this front part of the plaster a little bit darker. And I'll use this to kind of, any part that's facing me is going to be in the shadow. So I'm going to go ahead and put the grays on that just a bit. And like over here, that's going to be in that part of the fin there. I'm going to go in like so. If I can leave a little bit white there, that should add the visual cue of depth. Gotta make the sound effects too, because the blaster wouldn't come out right if you didn't. Can you hear it? All right, and I think this part is also white, so it's facing me, so it's gonna get a little bit of 30% cool gray. This front part also 30% cool gray. Yep, that's awesome, man. I will probably be inking my own pages for the foreseeable future. Yeah, I'm onto this 10-year plan that I have for Alpha Red, and it's pretty ambitious. and I'm gonna need help. So I'm trying to take some things off my plate so that I can feel comfortable sharing some of the duties with others. And that's kind of where I'm at with all that. So at the beginning here, I let everybody know that Alpha Red number 6 is all the way done, and I am going to send it off to the printers hopefully tomorrow. I'm just waiting on an advertiser for Alpha Red number 1 actually. I'm doing a big print run for Alpha Red number 1. Same for Alpha Red number 6. I have an advertiser for the back cover, and that's going to save a bunch of money when I go to print it. And I'm just waiting for that person to send me their ad, and I just gotta look it over and make sure it's the right size, and off it will go. And I am happy to go over that with anybody who is interested in knowing anything about the printing process, because I'm gonna I think I'm gonna pull the trigger on 2,000 copies. I'm definitely doing 2,000 copies of issue number 1, because it is by far the best-selling issue of Alpha Red. Everybody who wants to give it a try buys Alpha Red number 1. I can't keep it in stock, so I'm just going to go ahead and buy 2,000 copies of issue number 1, and that's going to cost $2,200, I believe. So that's a big chunk of change. And for Alpha Red number 6, I don't think I need that many. And so I think I'm just going to get 1,500. And what it does is it drastically reduces the cost of each comic. Now I have to pay $2,000, so it's not, and it'll take me a couple hundred copies before I break even. But that was part of the purpose of the crowdfunder, was to help pay for some of that. And so thankfully I will have them, and they will be making money towards future Alpha Red issues. And so I can hire a writer to help me with the plots. My man Ray McKay, who is helping me with issue number 6 here, has signed on to plot issues 7 and 8. So I'm glad for his help. Let me see. Slash Buckler, sorry you pulled out your message. The Apprentice had to make Starscream his own. I heard that. That's awesome. Very cool. Well, you tell The Apprentice I appreciate the support over here, Rod. Yeah, I forgot to silence my phone there, but that was the sound of somebody picking up Starscream. That's awesome. Thank you, Apprentice. Mr. Apprentice. All right, so now we're going to go in with the blues, because that's really all we have left are the blues. And I really like the blue that I have, that I think I ran out of. I think I killed it last time. I forget which character I was drawing or coloring, but let me test out this, see if it's a close second. All right, we might use this guy. He's a contender. So my wife bought me this set, this Arteza set, and it's been pretty cool. I'm just not used to the colors, And the color on the cap is not necessarily... Ooh, that's bright. I kind of like that. That's a bright color. Let me see if I can show you guys the difference here. Because I'm not... I mean, it's a little different from what you see on the camera and what it is in real life. I think. That's kind of a duller. I like... He's the winner so far, so far. And so I'm just not used to these colors. My wife watched my videos and she heard me complaining, not complaining, but just saying that I pick up. Ooh, I better not get these messed up. I think this one was the no. And let's go. This guy. Ooh, he's super dark. Okay. Well, we'll go with, I believe, this guy is this color. Yes. And yeah, we'll go with mostly him. Let's go with the guy I said no to first. He's a lighter blue. And you definitely want to start with some light blue. But he's like a dull kind of light. See if I have a lighter, brighter blue. This is the problem when you get a new set of anything. This is a kind of a grayish. I mean, not grayish, greenish. But sometimes that's okay. I could probably make that work, but I'm not that special. How about this? Ooh, that's green. Nope. Look blue from here, but pulling off the caps and everything. What's this guy look like? Ooh. Okay. He's a deeper version of this guy. So maybe we'll try these two. Well, now he kind of changed colors. Yeah, that's that guy. Whoop whoop. More issue number 1. That's right. So John at OSH Radio is the guy who has his ad on the back of Alpha Red number 6. I'm glad I tested that. Come on. I can't do 2 things at once. So I'm going to put that aside, and I think this is the guy that we liked down here. No, he's dark too. Where'd you go? Where did you come from? Where did you go? Come on. That's super dark too. What'd I do with it? Put it up all the way up here. Put it out of the way, and I couldn't find it. All right. Hopefully this works. Apprentice, I apologize if this messes up. We can refund you if you don't like it. I'm sure it'll be fine. See, so I thought it was going to be darker, but I like the color. But I tried it back here where it's small, and if I had messed up, I would have tried to recover it, but it looks like it's a good fit for the color. So if you guys have not checked out OSH Radio, John does some cool, funny things with songs and stuff. He is a songwriter, and John at OSH Radio actually wrote the theme song for Alpha Red that I play at the end of every video. So if you enjoy the Alpha Red theme song, you can show Crazy John some love. He likes subscribers. I like subscribers. So if you have not subscribed yet, please consider subscribing to the channel. I think I'm going to do more. Actually, John from OSH Radio has proposed that we do a weekly comic review show. I know there's already a bazillion out there, but why not one more? I don't know. It just sounds like fun, and I enjoy comics, and why not review them and see if they're worth picking up. Right, guys? So that would be a fun. Actually, there are a couple people who have suggested that I do a weekly thing. And as soon as my feet hit the ground here on Alpha Red number 6, getting that settled, I can take a look at my schedule, because Alpha Red number 7 is on in the thumbnail phases right now. And as soon as I have those thumbnails ready to go, I mean, I'm off to the races again. And hopefully with the inker, I can get 2 pages done a week, 2 or 3 pages done a week, if I can. But I also need the money to pay for the extra help. So that's a little bit of a balance that I have to do. Let's see what I'm missing here. What's going on, Fong? Every time I see Starscream, I can't help but hear Chris Latta's voice. That's right. That's right. I don't know how to, but we know. So John says it's easy to write a great song when it has a great motivation, as with Alpha Red, the Alpha Red character. I appreciate that, John. I appreciate that. No, John was very meticulous about asking me some of the themes of what I wanted in the song, and the story goes that he did not leave the comic convention parking lot where I asked him if he would be interested in doing that until he had all the lyrics written. So I appreciate that, because within like hours he had the song written. So in less than 24 hours he had the whole song and 2 versions of the song. Now I like the rock and roll version a little bit better, but there's a newer age version kind of with more keyboards, and that sounds pretty cool too. So right, not right. Fong says, looking forward to getting the limited hardcover back so I can catch up on the Alpha Red story. You're gonna love it. I hope. Well, I like to think that I know that you'll enjoy it. So I appreciate the support, Fong. So I think I'm gonna. Well, should I call it that? Nope. I can color a little bit more of the guy in the transforming guy here in the back here. I can hear the commercial music, and then I can see Starscream transforming here. What else was I going to say? So yeah, next Saturday and Sunday, I'm going to be a part of an auction, an art auction, for those of you guys who were just coming in over at Comic Book Radio. That's not the right blue, but we'll stick with it. Where I will be, for the first time, selling pages from Alpha Red, interior pages. So I have pages 1 and 2 that will go on sale. So Saturday and Sunday, next Saturday and Sunday, 8:30, I believe, on Comic Book Radio. So these are the pages. That's the first splash page of Alpha Red will be for sale, and this is page 1, first appearance of Alpha Red. So if you guys are interested in that, I would love it if you guys join me over on Pete's channel. Okay, let me see, where's that other There it is. There it is. Is this it? Yep, that's it. So this is a lighter. This is a 10% gray. So I want to just kind of streak in here. And just like some of the stuff is just a little too bright. So I want to make sure that there's a little bit more shade to that right there. So that it looks like it has a little bit more depth. Let's see if I'm missing anything. The apprentice and I will be in attendance. Awesome, awesome. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. So you'll see more things that I'm gonna be putting up for auction throughout this week. Guys, what do you think? Are we done? Are we done? What do I do about the blast here? Do I do a yellow? Do I do a yellow to kind of... I ask and then I just start doing. Tis how my brain works. I already decide, but at the same time, I just do it. All right, guys. Let me see, what time is it? All right, we are. This can be done, and this will be in the mail tomorrow to Mr. Apprentice, headed to North Carolina. So I appreciate it, Rod and Son. And let me show you some other things. So let's talk about some of the comics that I picked up this week. And I don't know if you were here earlier, but this came in the mail on Wednesday, I want to say. And I did read it over Thanksgiving weekend. I don't know if anybody wants to chime in on whether or not they had it, they bought it, whether or not they thought it was good or not. I'm going to give you the my 10-cent review here. This was written by Chuck Dixon, drawn by Joe Bennett, and I liked it. I actually liked it a lot. I'm giving it a 7.5 out of 10, and most of the 7.5 is because of the writing. The writing is very good. I took points away because in this page here, and it's not for everybody. It's pretty brutal. I'm not going to let my son read this. It's not even worth like blackening out some of the stuff, because sometimes there's whole pages that are, very violent, very bloody, and I don't want to take a Sharpie to the whole thing. But he loses points in here on this one page where he misspells. I don't know if you guys can see this. He misspells Nguyen. So it's they're fighting a gang, and it's the Nguyen Falk gang. See? Oh. And they misspell it. They spell it N-Y-G-U-E-N. So he messed up the Y. So I docked points. Come on, Chuck. Help me out. So Joe Bennett, his art is pretty good throughout. I don't know if it's an inker thing where it's inconsistent, but it's only shows as one inker doing the whole thing. But the artwork is a little inconsistent. The storytelling is pretty good, but there are some parts that I was not impressed with. So overall, 7.5 out of 10 for that. How about Absolute Batman? Absolute Batman number 2. If you're curious what I thought about Absolute Batman number 2, I loved Absolute Batman number 1. Read it probably 3 times. Batman number 2, I read it twice. Not as good, but it's not bad because it's bad. It's just not any better than issue number 1. I didn't think that anything new was presented in issue number 2, so it was not as enjoyable. I was hoping that it would continue to get better, but it's just the same good. So I didn't like it as much. I did read it twice just to see if I was missing something, and it was just like but this I just read that the cover to Absolute Batman #1 went for $70,000. $70,000. So there's people who like comic books and they're willing to spend money on it. Rob Liefeld's first appearance of Deadpool in New Mutants #98, page 14, went for $969,000 or something crazy. So that's an interior page. But this cover to Absolute Batman #1 went for $70,000 is what I just saw online before I got on. So yeah. So Matt, I it's shocking. I guess I was disappointed because I was expecting it to be better than Absolute Batman #1, but it was just about the same. So I was like, and I hate that for whatever reason that got me disappointed. That was my reaction. So, but I think that was it. I'm looking forward to reading this. I got that out of the dollar bin over at Funky Town. So I was happy to get that. I got a bunch of stuff in the dollar bins. So, all right, guys, that's all I got. That is all I got. I thank you for spending a Sunday night with me. I do this every week. I do a Sunday night draw stream. Sometimes I do just pencils. Sometimes I do the inking, and this time I did some coloring. So I don't know where my man Jay Scott is. Jay Scott typically likes the coloring. So I don't know if he's here, hasn't chimed in, but well, that's it. Thanksgiving weekend is over, guys. It's back to work. Get back to work. So last chance on the Alpha Red #6 campaigns. I left it open on Fund My Comic and on Indiegogo. So go over to JamesQ.net if you want to pick up the Dark Knight Returns homage cover. JamesQ.net. And if you want the Invincible Iron Man, you can head over to shopalphared.com to pick that up. And same thing with alpharedcomic.com. We'll take you to Fund My Comic, and just let me know if you want the New Mutants '98 homage cover. We can get that worked up for you too. But 8 o'clock tomorrow, I'm shutting it down because I have to send it off to the printers, and I need to know how many of each cover that I'm getting. So guys, I really appreciate you hanging out with me on a Sunday night, and have a great week, and we'll see you next week. Until then, grace, peace. Hitting it.
From the shadows he rises with courage in his heart, a beacon of hope. He's ready to start. With faith as his armor and a fire in his soul, Alpha Red stands tall, fulfilling his role. Alpha Red, the hero we need. With the power of faith, he'll always succeed. Fighting darkness, he'll never dread. For the world is safe with Alpha Red. Red. Full of chaos, for red.